Choose the sentence that is correct because it has parallel structure. Now, if you don't know what parallel structure is, or you feel kind of fuzzy about that, I will add a link to the notes on the video that will show you where you can find more information about parallel structure. But I am going to the MLA website and typing in parallel structure. This is how you can get more information about anything you're struggling with, whether it's a formatting thing or a grammatical thing or just writing in general. And you can read about parallel structure and even take quizzes on parallel structure. For example, here are all the quizzes: parallelism with compound elements and parallelism with correlative conjunctions. So help yourself to the vast amount of content that's out there, especially the MLA Style Center. That is one of the best places to go. Also, this little grammarbook.com, you could type in parallel structure. Oops. Easier said than done. And you could find more activities about parallel structure and quizzes in general. I'm sticking with the blue book, so you can look at it that way. That's a good way to get a solid definition if you are just struggling to even get started with the concept. So here it says, sentences and lists are awkward when they contain a series of items with inconsistent grammatical structure. But as your reader scans through a series of items with parallel grammatical structure, the relationships between different items of information become clear. It gives you an example, several examples, and it gives you a little pop quiz that you can do just here, and then you could use any of the quizzes provided here or there, the free quizzes, or on the MLA Style site. So back to our question. Pause the video here and see which sentence has parallel structure, and then I will explain which one is correct and why. Okay, so hopefully you guessed that the last one contains parallel structure, and I just want to walk you through what I'm seeing in the grammar or the structure of the sentences that are confusing because they're not parallel structure in syntax. Syntax is a word we use when we're talking about using the best words in the best order. So to get your ideas across, you want good syntax. So the first sentence says the instructors expect students to look at their grades and that they will make an appointment to speak with the instructor during his or her office hours if they are concerned about their grades. Oh, we have a lot of pronoun ambiguity here as well as problems with parallel structure. So there are a lot of things to fix in this sentence, like are the instructors or the students concerned about the instructor's grades or their own grades? So lots of issues in addition to problems with parallel structure. So let's look at how I would revise this sentence. And notice that it looks completely different from what's there. Don't be afraid to go back and just take the idea that you're trying to get across in a sentence and start over. Sometimes students just want to fix a verb or a preposition or one little thing in a sentence, and what they really need to do is start over with the sentence. The idea might be good, but it might be unclear the way it's written. So I would revise the first sentence as students should look at their grades and make appointments to speak with the instructor about any concerns during the instructor's office hours. So I took out all the strange references, the ambiguous pronouns and things like that, and just started with students and giving them ownership of their grades by starting with students. So pay extra attention to just the way the ideas are grouped together and make sure they all make sense. Really, you want to have one idea per sentence. Sometimes the ideas are more complex with complex sentences or compound sentences. but they all should work together very clearly. Sentence B, I revised 2 different ways. And this one is more directly a good example of just fixing the issues with parallel structure when it comes to using the same verb form in particular. The previous one had as many problems with pronouns that were an issue. This one really just has problems with the verbs being used in the series of actions. So they all need to be the same. The original sentence is, Mary is doing well in English 101 because she always prepares for class by having previewed the content. She works on revisions in the tutoring lab and reads announcements daily. So here we have, she always prepares by having previewed. So that's prepares and then having previewed are different verb forms. Then we have a pronoun as a subject for a second clause here. She works on revisions. So we have she works, and then Anne reads. But we have 3 actions in a series separated by commas, and it just doesn't work the way it's written here. So to create parallel structure, which will make the ideas more clear, we want to do something like one of the following 2 sentences. Mary is doing well in English 101 because she always prepares for class by previewing the content before class. Previewing here, I'm following the ing verb form for how she prepares for class. Working on revisions in the tutoring lab, so another ing verb, and reading announcements daily. So reading is another ing verb. So this red sentence shows you how you would revise if you wanted to stick with how she is preparing for class as the focus. The next version is more involved in linking how she is being successful or doing well in the class. So notice the difference in the verbs, how they are consistent, but using a different focus a little bit here in the blue sentence. But both are correct because they're both within parallel structure using the same verb forms for each action. Ooh, sorry. I was trying to do an ing verb here for Mary's name. Poor Mary. Mary is doing well in English 101 because she always prepares for class by previewing the content before class, works on revisions in the tutoring lab, and reads announcements daily. So in the second one, why is she successful? She prepares, she works, and she reads. All right. The red one was, how does she prepare? By previewing, working, and reading. Okay, so the focus is a little different for the verbs, but they're consistent and they're parallel in the 2 revisions. Fortunately, for the grammar test, you don't have to create the parallel structure. You just have to identify when it is not happening well in a sentence and choose the one where it is happening well. So item number C, again, we have 2 different revisions for the sentence. In college, students will have longer reading assignments, writing many essays, and spend more time outside of class making their own study guides to prepare for tests. All right, I know this one does not contain parallel structure because when I look at the verbs, students will have longer reading assignments. Okay, they will have, that's one verb. Writing and spend and making, we just have a bunch of different verb forms here. So I have 2 options for cleaning this up a bit. Let's see how I did. In college, students will have longer reading assignments, will write many essays, and will spend more time after class making their own, should be study guides to prepare for tests. Same here. Now, I used the linking verb will before each verb in this red sentence where I created parallel structure for the verbs using the same verb tense for each action. I doubt if anyone would count off if you just used the helping verb or the linking verb will and one time at the beginning and then use the consistent verb form for the next two actions as well, or all the subsequent actions, which would look like the blue sentence. In college, students will have longer reading assignments, write many essays, and spend more time after class making their own study guides to prepare for tests. So the verbs that needed to be in parallel structure that were not and now are have, write, and spend. So we cleaned that up. So that just leaves us with answer D. D says, when meeting with an instructor, bring the work you have done on the upcoming assignment so your instructor can help you with it. That is a perfectly acceptable sentence. No problems with parallel structure anywhere there. Ask your instructor if you are having problems with parallel structure, if you see that on any of your essays. I will put links in the notes for this video so you can read more about it and take more practice quizzes so that you get really comfortable with using parallel structure, as you'll be expected to do in all of your essays and you will be tested on in the grammar test.